look at you just dropping toys right here. What about this bone? Huh? Come on. Come on, boy. You ready? Go get it. Can you see shit? Okay, now I can see shit. Oh, look at you. Look at you. Ah. Hey. Guy loves that thing. You stole it and you love it. Stole it because you love it, buddy. How many toys do you have out here? Jesus. Here's his first one that's just chilling out here. It's a little bull. And that's definitely not a toy. That's a victim of bandit. You don't even know what I'm gonna chuck. Which one am I even gonna chuck to you, bro? You don't even know. Don't even know, bro. Goofy dog. Jesus. Hey. We'll get it. Crazy mutt. Look at you. Hey, Sukov. Oh, look at that pretty face. Look at your pretty face. Oh my goodness. Well, be careful. Psycho dog. Hey, come on, bud. Come on. Whoa, hey. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Go get it. Bite it, buddy. You're kidding me, right? You're kidding, right? Oh shit, yeah, where did that go? There it is. Hey. Bro. It's right here. Psycho nut. Little son of a dog. Look at you, you're crazy. You're a crazy ball of nut. A crazy little nutball. Look at you. Do this real quick. He was a good boy. What are you breaking now, bro? What are you breaking? Are you breaking things? Are you breaking things, boy? Are you just causing destruction and mayhem as you normally do? You sweet, cute thing. You just too cute, you is. Ugh. Man, it is cold in here. Jeez. Jeez. Man, it's legit warm outside, and it's actually cold in here. Alright. Let's open the door so we can actually vent the cool air out. Warm air in. Come on, come on. Hopefully that will kind of work. Probably not. I don't trust you. I don't trust you to be out there by yourself. You're gonna do some shit. Like sneak out to the fucking front yard and probably into the streets, and I don't want that happening. What a silly dog. What a silly, silly little doge. Absurd. Cute little ball chaos that he is. Just got a cute little ball of chaos and insanity. Little ball of chaos and insanity. Da-da-da. What's my phone? What? Look at that fucking group chat thing, and I literally don't even know what my fucking friend's rambling about. What? They lost for China if they don't win anything, but you. What the fuck? Is he the? What's he even talk? What? Okay. That's just alright. Well, the unhingedness, grows further, I suppose, in the world. The world has, just gotten slightly more unhinged, I guess. Big loss for China, if they don't win anything, but you could. What? China has fuck all to do with it aside from just being friendly with Russia. That makes no sense. Okay, whatever, people dumb. People dumb. People dumb. People out there just gonna be dumb. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. I'm already having very strong, distrustful suspicions about Zuko, but no. I feel the urge to want to make sure I could go get him. Knowing his little furry ass. What the fuck is in here? Let me see. It's still chilly in here specifically. Not outside, just here. Ugh. And that is a little more annoying. It kind of sucks when I'm on. I heard you. Hey, buddy boy. What you doing? What you doing out there, huh? What you doing out there, pretty boy? What's up, bud? What am I hanging out for you, buddy? Hmm? Hmm? Join the nice rays. The nice rays of sunshine. Do 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 do. Hey, I hear what the fuck you're doing, you little shit. Oh, I think I know how he's getting out now. I fucking heard that. Oh, don't you dare be smiling like that, you little fucking turd. You fucking degenerate. I heard you. Look at you. Little shitting grin. I wasn't totally trying to plan a sneak attempt. No. I'm not sneaking out. Tugaf. Are you trying it again? Hmm? Ooh, spice meatball. Ooh. 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 Oh, some of that hit in my nose too. Ah. Oh, that felt tremendous. Oh, so tremendous. What are you doing? Little weirdo. Little punk. Look at you. Ridiculous. Absurd. Your cuteness is insane. And I will not have any of it. Not a single damn thing.
That's some problems in here, but we'll get you fixed up. No problem.
What's going on here?
Today, and we'll have you back in a couple weeks. We'll handle up the rest.
Huh?
I don't care how much. I don't care if you charge me out the ass. That's the tax I want. I don't want the lecture about how awesome my mouth is. I don't want it.
What the fuck? Oh, I'm gonna skip back. What's going on here?
You usually don't even get a strike one, but you definitely don't get more than a strike two. Like being charged out the ass with no bargaining power to PK. Things that sucks too is that dentists are like the least understanding.
Dentists? Ugh.
Yeah,
fuck dentists.
That's another thing too, is I hope I can find a dentist that doesn't come to fucking say this.
Well, it's more or less not the dentists themselves, but more or less just the shit, the culture around it. the bullshit of how, like, a lot of legit, your general health is tied to your dental health. It's just like, oh, fuck. That's always a fun, nice little thing to just bake in your noodle. I mean, honestly, it actually is a little bit. You kind of want to make sure that you don't get sick or die or some shit from an infection in your mouth because it seeps into your bloodstream or something. For the little shopping wars. Hey! Zukov! Zukov!
This is a cute Japanese girl who always yells at you. Nah, you can keep that. Don't want it. I want a nice old guy who's just really understanding. I want him when he looks at my mouth and sees all the problems with it to go like, well, you know, we've got some problems in here, but we'll get you fixed. No problem. I'm gonna handle one thing today and we'll
There's no such thing as a dentist like that. It's like, oh, yep, looks like there's a few things here and there, you know, it's like time to, time to fix it up. Yep.
I don't want the lecture about how awful my mouth is. I don't want.
You're getting that no matter what. It's a dentist. It's like it's like an obligation. It's like a blood right ritual. In order to be a dentist, you have to always lecture your patients about literally everything. You don't floss enough. You need to floss at least like 3 times a day. You need to brush your teeth, this and that, and blah 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 blah. You need to have this amount of fluoride or whatever the fuck. It's like, fuck you. It's like, shut up.
At this point in my life, I don't want that to come from anybody. I don't care if they are me. Like, I'm not seeking that from anybody. I mean,
one thing I love is just having to like pay out the literal ass when it comes to like dentist work and shit. Like so much like health insurance doesn't even necessarily cover dental, or if it does, barely anything. So you need a cavity filled up, that ain't covered. But, you know, your 6 months daily cleaning and stuff, yeah, that's okay. It's like, huh? It's like, what?
It's like a little robot doctor. Doesn't say anything, he just works on your teeth, gets it all fixed up.
Get an autodoc, dude. We need autodocs. I know China's already kind of advanced a lot with autodocs, or at least in certain fields, just because they are short on doctors and nurses when it comes to like certain fields of specialization. So now they're having like autodocs, essentially, or at least the equivalent of them, kind of fill in the gap where they're lacking when it comes to manpower in the medical field, which is pretty cool. I mean, in a way, automation, you know, isn't necessarily like, you know, a boon, you know, to the worker, but can actually be a bad benefit. Because there's not enough people working a workplace and shit, and there's no way to really truly get more people there, you know, automating the gaps that are needed to be filled up do help. So. So at least, you know, for the workers that still work there, their jobs are just that much easier. Not as difficult. I mean, it might have a little extra on the job, like maintaining the automated equipment or something like that, but nonetheless, you know, it's like the give and take that comes in with that is pretty negligible. If anything, I'd say it's probably better. Automated doctors won't do that. Or at least automated dentists. Doctors won't, like, fucking lecture you. Well, they will, but not really. Dentists are far more likely to lecture the shit out of you over bullshit.
Someone did that to you. Well, I mean, you know, like, it happens to you all the time.
I mean, I suppose it's merited, but still. It's like, come on, bro. It's like, you don't think I know this shit? The reason why I don't show up to the dentist because you are expensive. You're not as covered in comparison to fucking in comparison to just everything else about my health, okay? So leave me alone. If it was just free to point service, I legit probably would make regular dental appointments and shit, or dentist trips. Just because at that point it'd be free to point service. I could just go in if I have an issue or something like that. get it more professionally looked at.
Like the internet is one thing.
Instead of just figuring it out on my own.
Like, dude, in my personal sphere, that's what I'm talking about. I definitely, like, if that shit extended through there, I wouldn't be here. You know. Because you just can't stop it. You can ban it, but you can't stop it. But out in the real world, though, I can enforce them. I can enforce a boundary. And I sure enough do.
I'm gonna get Zook off real quick. Make sure it's not seeing off too far.
I wonder how you handle being treated like that when it comes to your manager deals for companies. You kind of have to take it to a point you do, but not really. Here's the thing, like, and this depends. If you're working for a company that's like the guy that owns it is your direct boss, like a small company, then yeah, you're kind of fucked. If you want to keep working for that company, then you gotta sit there and take disrespect. If you're working for a big company, like Starbucks and stuff, you got all kinds of resources and stuff. You know, I'm willing to put up with a lot of crap from people, as long as it's their crap, you know? I'm not willing to put up with people insinuating themselves into my crap. And, you get a manager that's, like, just verbally abusive to you or something, and you've got more resources to record that shit, take it to a higher person and say, listen to how my manager talks to me on the day. Fuck you, you're an idiot. That manager's gonna be.
I mean, hell, even in a corporate setting, like, you've got a shitty fucking manager and shit.
Run it up the corporate flag.
I mean, running up, you know, that corporate ladder, that does actually kind of help.
Escalate even beyond your DM. So there's a certain amount of give and play to that. A manager can be arrogant, but they can't be offensive. If you get to the point where a manager is just like dressing somebody down every day, they're going to end up fired. Unless, like I said, it's the owner of the company.
Oops.
Well, see, like, but at that level, at the level that I'm talking about, when you're working for a big company and the person who's verbally abusing you is a shift lead or an assistant store manager or a store manager, that person isn't not going to damage the company to replace that person.
Yeah, definitely not.
As replaceable as you are as a worker.
I mean, honestly, I've definitely seen managers get replaced and people kind of get shift around a little bit just because of shit like that. Because it's like too much conflict and too much problems. It might take a little bit, but usually it ends up happening. Whether there's a firing or shifting them to another store. Does it happen with, like, the top-down managers? Not really. I mean, honestly, it really happens for them if they move. It's like, hey, we're moving somewhere else now.
Your store just got better. And woe betide the poor store that gets that manager. Whatever.
Yeah.
But see, that costs more than firing and hiring a new manager. Bumping a manager from store to store and having them, because like a bad manager like that runs a bad store. If your employees are unhappy, scared to come to work, you know, edgy because you're constantly yelling at them and blah 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 blah, your store's gonna suck.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Usually, like, before even these type of scenarios happen, usually just talking with that one individual one-on-one is usually the best way to deal with it. And if they don't improve, then, you know, running it up the corporate chain. Honestly, I've seen more times than not just merely talking to somebody about, like, some of their behaviors and shit, and just, you know, being chill about it, and just trying to work it out with that person usually ends up working out more than just, you know, letting it, you know, simmer and then fucking build up. And then just get to a point where you have to, like, you know, get corporate involved. But it's not always the case. Like, usually some people don't usually improve. But there's a lot of people that do. I've known plenty of people that have actually improved greatly just because you just merely talk with them. It's like, hey, you know, you're taking, like, too long of breaks and you kind of are uppity with, you know, customers a little bit. Kind of chill. It's like, I get but, you know, it's like there ain't nothing, you know, at work, you know, worth getting very significantly mad over where you get an outburst and shit. You know, so. I mean, there's been plenty of times where I've had shit happen to me at work where it's like I could easily go off, you know, just on a rant, or like multiple rants even, but, I mean, meh. It ain't worth it.
They get elected, and a couple of weeks later, they're already thinking about their re-election. Right? They got to think about tomorrow and how they look tomorrow, so that they can get re-elected down the road. They're very focused, very singular, and very focused on the moment. They have to be. Political creatures by nature have to exist.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not, there are very few...
Politicians never gave a fuck about actually
the long-term benefit of shit.
Generally helping out the common people and stuff. They're looking out for themselves.
Bunch of perks.
And that includes being in the now.
Nobody wants to shake that apple cart. So you gotta shake, you gotta shake it from underneath.
Yep. Continuing to vote in politicians thinking that these type of things fundamentally are going to change aren't exactly the way to do it. Considering that it hasn't worked.
Unfortunately, I think organizing is still put enough emphasis on need to hire people to do it. I mean, you're right about that. I mean, that is one of the things, you know, that I think is at the core of the message that I've been trying to get across for years now. When it comes to electoralism and the amount of time people spend arguing about it. That passion, that fire, and that participation, were it translated from the electoral world to a local volunteer organization, or a local nonprofit, or a local political party.
Charity funds, mutual aid.
Outside the political party. Or,
I mean, even doing little small-time donations to these type of places are fundamentally more, you know, improving and changing for broader outcomes in comparison to donating to political campaigns. Like putting $25 into like a homeless organization that's been vetted and actually does, you know, good to try to help improve the general plight of the homeless. I mean, donating to a local group like that in comparison to a bunch of different politicians in their campaigns is gonna improve the general well-being of the homeless versus, you know, whatever virtues and pandering that the homeless say, that the politicians say that try to help the homeless and then never do it. Because at least those non-profit organizations and shit are actually going out of their way to do something and be, you know, in the direct action of it.
200 plus year existence. It has been from the ground up.
Yep.
Something happens that sets off a spark somewhere else, and something happens, and boom.
That's all it really takes is just a spark.
Yep.
At least for me personally, I feel like that spark has already happened.
Protest throws out a spark that ignites a powder keg in a big city, and then that ignites more, you know what I mean? And it just from the ground up, people move.
I mean, we kind of saw a little bit of a spark with, like, a lot of the BLM protests and shit after George Floyd, and then we've just been kind of slowly been seeing that energy and that spark kind of refunnel itself into different things a little bit. But primarily from what I've noticed into labor, just because of a lot of the more mass unionization efforts with Amazon, Starbucks, you know, talks about Walmart, you know, now starting to be more unionized and shit. The walkouts,
you know,
all these things.
Strategic civil disobedience.
Besides, a lot of the labor laws and the workers' protections came from direct action and fighting against the entire status quo and bumping up against it from the ground up. It always has been. Honestly, fundamental change has always come from that. Like the Civil Rights Act didn't come just because politicians decided to do that on their own good accordance and goodwill.
There would have never been an American suffrage movement for women without the anti-alcohol movement, the doomed Volstead Act.
Yep.
that so many people pushed for. Because if you look at the history of that movement, the movement for women's suffrage is intrinsically tied to it. So think about it. Women were the primary driver behind this ultimately bad idea to outlaw alcohol. They were the ones that were suffering the brunt of alcoholism. Their men would go out, work all day, all night,
horrible work,
and then come home and squander the check on booze,
alcohol,
and come home and beat the kids, beat the wife. And so they had every impetus to take up.
I mean, that's why, especially with women's suffrage, it was so intertwined with the alcohol prohibition movement.
But it was that political.
I mean, say what you want, but there was like a major, legit political awakening, especially for women during that time, because of that.
And change things.
Not just for their own selves and their own autonomy and their rights, but also when it comes to them and their work. Because if men are just gonna go out, work, drink, and basically squander the check, then the woman has to fucking, try to make up the gap, or somebody has to. And if it ain't gonna be the kids and shit, well, who else? The mother, the woman.
Fuck that word.
So, I mean, that's why, especially when it came to the women's suffrage movement, labor was also attached to that, where, women who were, working in mills and shit as well. Weave rooms and shit.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna try and get there again. I had enough of that word. None of what you said is true, as proven in the anthropological literature. Huh?
Wait, what? What the fuck?
And so many people are bogged down by the crap of everyday life that they can't focus on a movement. I just think that people are...
I think there's truth to that.
Domesticated, I think, would be a better word. I think that people have way more to worry about back in the day, back in the 19th century, early 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, to worry about. Things were a lot more unstable. Things were a lot less fucking...
I think it's just, due to, I think more or less proper term, domestication. On top of just escapism. Well, there's more access and more choices of escapism now more than ever in comparison to back then. So so prior to the internet, especially, and prior to TV too, there wasn't as much impetus to just kind of, well, shit sucks, but I got entertainment. I got this at least. I got something that gets me through the day. So prior to even TV and shit, even way before the internet, there wasn't this impetus to just escape into some other reality or some other realm, that you can just kind of enjoy, whether that was TV or the internet or drugs or whatever really it was. There wasn't as much access to that in the earlier 20th century. So, especially with the internet, now there's just more access to that type of stuff, so there's not as much impetus for people to kind of, sit and think about these things as much. Despite, I guess, also having more accessibility to do so. Double-edged sword of that, I guess.
Because I've read a history book, I'm not some kind of genius. I'm not saying some kind of outsider thing. I've just read American history. The 8-hour workday, the 40-hour work week, paid vacation time, maternity leave, all of these things came from a decades-long fight. Literal fight. People got their heads cracked, people got shot, killed, blown up for those rights. And it was a grind for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years.
100 or more.
Or more.
Yeah.
Before people started to see the fruits of that movement. But it had to start.
In a way, that is what it takes and shit. I mean, in order to bump up, especially the entire system that's willing to fight against, your general well-being and your common daily life and shit, this is kind of, these are the general outcomes that happen. People's skulls do get cracked. People get hurt.
That didn't come from politicians.
And
come from.
I mean, honestly, it's those politicians that exacerbate those fucking things because they're the ones who benefit and profit off of that type of shit. So they're the hands of the state, despite being the representatives in the hands of the people. At least that's what it should be about.
Politicians and marking them as their enemies and hitting the streets with their bodies. And slowly but surely, a lot of those rights that were won in that decades-long battle that I talked about have been eroded. I'm a blue-collar construction worker, and I think I see a little bit of your point about solidarity you talked about back a year or so ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're in
I'm just a blue-collar retail worker, and I've noticed that even kind of before Paul really was talking about a year or so ago. But especially with how he's articulated these ideas, it's really made me understand fundamentally more so about the importance of these things.
They're like bonded tradesmen unions now, but most people are just hired off the street as construction. And
yeah.
You see firsthand the erosion of.
I've only seen one construction worker who was actually in a union, and it was during the fucking one of the protests because he happened to be wearing a local carpenters 24 or something like that. He had a T-shirt that was like local carpenters union. It's like, oh damn.
That's why I say we've been.
I mean, he was definitely an old grizzled guy too.
When I see a person arguing for electrical.
I mean, it's just like I don't really see too many of that. Like, I mean, you see a lot of young construction workers, but usually they're more contracted by these companies and don't have this sense of solidarity or collective bargaining power that comes with the union when you get these type of jobs, and they get exploited more easily.
Their push and pull of electoralism will never stop. There are no permanent victories with it, even if it's codified in the Constitution. The powerful don't care about that shit. It's reached a point now where it's a tug of war game, and we like to think about it as a tug of war between politicians, but it's really a tug of war between us.
Yeah.
They pulled the greatest magic trick of all time. They took what was essentially a straight up tug of war game, where at the end of the electoral process, two candidates had to grab the rope and see who won yanking it. And they have slowly but surely over the years just passed that rope off to us. Because there's no real fight anymore. They're like, wait a minute, what if we just make sure that whoever wins is going to make sure that the bankers are happy and make sure that the investment guys are happy and make sure
exactly. So at this point, like, the supposed two sides that are fighting against each other are now basically working together on the other side of the rope, and has slowly shifted the other side of the rope towards us. And yet they have pretty much like these mech exosuits that have like infinity strength, so they can tug on all they want, despite the mass, tugging all they want, but being able to barely budget.
Instead of Biden pulling on that rope, Biden didn't do a thing. He didn't lift a finger to do any of the work of yanking on that rope. He'd like you pull it for him, and then he sat there.
I mean, if anything, he benefited from that. And he still is.
you spent all
these motherfuckers are.
For him.
Every single one of these candidates. Every one of these presidents for years now. Decades.
Your expectation was that old Grandpa Joe was going to pick up that rope. And I know you had low expectations, but you thought he was going to yank it a couple of times.
He was going to yank it at least a few times. Of course.
Maybe deschedule marijuana. Maybe.
Yeah, he'll totally deschedule it, of course.
And at best, he looked at it.
He'll do it last second.
With his toe.
Just give him until, like, the last year of his term. Then he'll do it. Promise you.
As long as you don't come to you're a good dog. Other than that, I'm going to put you to death if you that.
Police are finally breaking up the protests in Ottawa. Of course they are. Because they were actually disrupting things. So as nice as Canada wants to portray itself, and see, this is the funny thing. I want all
Canada is not
Canadians to
nice.
take note of what's going on.
Just look how they treat natives and indigenous people in Canada.
You like to, because
Oh, Canada's so nice and sweet. That's why they have that weird fucking veneer.
on the United States.
Just embrace your actual, like, Americanness and just be, like, pieces of shit like you really are. Put this, like, oh, we're sorry, veneer bullshit. You're like us. Get over it. Embrace it.
You're just like us.
Yeah.
You're our little brother. Our little brother, Canada.
Yeah. Little brother Canada. Hey, little buddy. Hey, little buddy, eh?
Quit pretending you got some moral authority up there. You don't. Same authoritarians are in charge up there that are in charge.
The same fucking indigenous smashing fucking, you know, anti-left fucking police, you know, motherfuckers and shit. Just over there too. Same, like, skull crackers and shit. They just have this nice little soft veneer to it to try to make themselves have some weird moral authority over it.
Like if I said Bernie was too far left and couldn't win, but described Biden as the next FDR, I'm what? Yeah. Stop resisting, eh? Stop resisting.
Yeah, Bernie's more like FDR, but yeah, let's make Biden look like FDR because Bernie's too left. So wait, what's that mean? What?
You take direct action. Shit's gonna have to get worse. That's all there is to it.
The catalyst to people find Twitter. Yeah. Honestly, overall, things are just going to have to get a little worse for that to really be the case.
But it's going to have to get there. People are literally going to have to get to the point where every industry is treating them like mules and telling them not enough to get by on. And then people will be
they already are.
The streets. It's just not there yet. It's getting there. You're starting to see more agitation for labor movements, but it's not quite there yet. It's just gonna get worse.
I mean, it's there, but it's got to get a little more. It'll get a little bit more bigger. It'll take time, but it will. And it ain't gonna be the workers or us, so to speak, that are gonna be doing this much, so they'll hit the blame.
You guys sit right there, I'll be right back. Ugh.
Oh. That's takes you on. No, it's not that bad. I'm honestly wondering what the real true catalyst would be, you know, to really get more people onto direct action. I think it'll probably have to be between like Walmart and Amazon probably doing some mass fucking bullshit. Just like, I mean, they already are to a certain degree, and I think that's kind of helped exacerbate some of the whole labor militancy, but it's going to probably have to take a lot more. Same with Starbucks, because they're already doing hardcore anti-union busting efforts. So,
We gotta do something.
We gotta do something. We gotta do something.
What temp is it? I don't know, dude. I don't have a fucking thermometer up my ass that I can pull out. Can't tell you. Cold.
Warm. How's it cold in California but warm in Oregon?
I'll tell you that much. It's cold.
It's warm up here. As soon as I go outside, that sun is going to be like bzzz, warm. How is it fucking cold in Cali right now? What the fuck? Climate change. I wonder if that has something to do with it. I bet not. Nah, it's just how it is. California cold in Oregon right now? Eh.
Dun, dun, dun. swing. That's a swingaroo. So windy that the door in your fence broke off. Nice.
What you doing, so guy? Just chow down some munch. Let's have his little lunch. So when I get up to work later, I'm gonna have to find myself some food. Snack a little something up there. Little munchy. Mountain away, boy.
Heave-ho, hoist the colors high. Heave-ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
He's a good boy.
Pirates are metal, man.
Pirates are fucking
I wish I could have
metal.
been a pirate, man.
What's stopping you?
I think I would have made a dope pirate lord. Like, can you imagine?
Pirates still
As
exist.
I am. Instead of the Santa Cruz.
International waters out in motherfucking, like, the Pacific or some shit. Who said you had to be like one of those Somali pirates? Some pirates exist still.
It's not like
Maybe not in like the heavy, badass metal way that they used to, but hey, they're fucking
same thing with the beer. I just got like
revive, like, some, like
cutlass slash across my face.
pirate,
One of my eyes is out, so I got
pirate group. Just kind of, reviving the old, like, kind of swashbuckling look.
That's right, boys. Hoist the mainsails.
Hey.
There'll be fresh meat on the ocean today. I smell an English galley.
Hey. Well, punk, what you doing?
I smell the fine wares and goods of an English dainty maid.
Hey. The English galleons looking like kites. The booty of loot. Oh.
I could have been a badass captain. Captain Loadbeard, dude. I could have been a realist. I could have been, like, if I was born in the right time, I genuinely believe.
Honestly, if I was a pirate,
Blackbeard,
I would definitely want to have, like,
down.
not just, an eye patch just for the sake of, like, the tactical thing about it. I just straight up want it because, like, someone, like, straight up took a knife to that fucking eye or some shit, bro. Going on a raid, fucking, battling out some Englishmen or some shit.
What do you mean?
Snags my eye out.
No such thing as a Blackbeard. I'll prove it to you. Hoist the mainsail, boys. We're going chicken hunting. I would have found Blackbeard, and I would have sent everybody to Jones Walker, and that'd have been it. Long John Bumpins, yeah, dude.
Got a little text, something.
The only thing in the world saltier than the briny sea. Captain Saltbeard. Yo-ho. I could have been good. I could have been a good-ass pirate captain. Like, you can diss on me all you want, but I would have made a good-ass pirate captain, dude. As a pirate captain, like, very rarely does the captain have to engage in anything. The captain usually, like, has a pretty posh little stateroom and stuff. You just gotta come out and, whip the boys up into a frenzy, make sure no mutinies happen. You gotta be an enforcer every once in a while. I can do it, dude.
I mean, that's kind of the whole point about being a pirate. You have to definitely enforce your rule.
Not the way I'm talking.
I mean, it's just like, definitely want to be, fair to your crew, but if, one of them's just like, hey,
like,
I want a little more, or whatever the fuck. It's like, hey, it's like, unless, you grab it on the ship yourself,
have, like,
outside of the general loot.
old galley.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? Like a big old galley with cans in it. Like 12 cans aside. passed me by.
Okay, now the
What
fucking
other,
little
like, historical
texting on here. God damn it.
There's that one that we learned about in an episode, I think, where people used to like hire a hedge wizard or whatever. They'd hired like a dude to live on their estates, and he was there as entertainment. He was there to be like the wise old hermit for them, so that they could bring, like, say, do you know that on my land lives a wise old hermit who knows the answer to any question? Certainly, I shall take you to meet him. You know, and like your whole job was to like, they'd bring people to you and you had to like put on a little show, like you were psychic or wise beyond your years. I could have done that. For sure. For sure I could have done that. But that's a job that doesn't exist anymore. You know?
Gonna do this real quick. There we go.
Nah, I don't got the grit to be like a Western bounty hunter, I don't think. I got the sand.
There we go.
Broom of the stool. Yeah, dude, the broom of the stool, man. There's an old one-eyed hermit who lives upon the property. I allow him to live just upon the edges because he's never led me wrong, answers every question directly, clearly, and with foresight. Certainly, this is a jest. There's no jest, sir. I'll take you to his hut.
There we go. Okay.
It's but a short ride through the woods.
Is Paul the Elder like the fucking Lord of the Rings now?
I could have done it. I could have been there.
I totally honestly would have. Probably more so in like maybe the 1800s era. Could have vibed it out in that time.
I don't think
Been like some mercenary bard or some shit.
Even though like not every night was like there was a lot of fat nights and stuff. Night was more of a title of nobility than like
An actual warrior, yeah.
battles and stuff. Even then, dude. Being a knight just looks like the most uncomfortable thing.
Yeah, fuck that. You got like that armor and bullshit. Boo.
You like sit properly, and it's horrible to have on.
Uncomfortable.
And
heavier than shit. And if you're in winter, it's actually kind of cold as fuck because of the metal. Nah, fuck that. Not gonna be about that, fam.
Oh yeah.
I'd just be like some traveling like mercenary bard or something.
They still do. Most bards, you know, not doing too well. You can still be a bard. That's one of the
Oh hell yeah.
Like survived in a weird way. You can still be a person.
It's tough, hard living, but hey,
Town to town and making money.
it's the honest living.
There once was a man from South Hollow. Play your fucking guitar.
Just kind of play some tunes for people. I mean, hey, that's the reason why it's stuck around forever, because everyone likes music. Everyone likes hearing songs and hearing random little tales and shit told in music. So, I mean, that's why it's always existed. It might be tough, hard living and shit, but hey, nonetheless, it's an honest one.
Step right up. Feast your eyes on the most blood-curdling sight you've ever seen. From darkest Africa, the Manrilla. You, sir, you look like a man that has fortitude. Would you brave a moment looking into the eyes of your destroyer? You, madam. Oh, I could not against you. You would faint immediately at seeing the beast. Could wipe the king's butt, yeah, the groom of the stool, man. It's not a bad job. It's like, you know, how often can the king poop? Think about it.
Oh god.
Twice a day, you gotta do something gross, but you're like a lord. Seems like a pretty good trade-off.
I mean, honestly, yeah. If I was just like
Not a very good vacation plan, though.
live up, you know.
Not like the groom of the stool can take off, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey,
Oh,
king,
no.
can you hold it for a couple of weeks? I'd like to take my wife to the coast.
Well, that's why you have multiple room of the
I wonder if
stools,
they had
dude.
a backup room of the stools, you know?
Yeah, they did. They had to at least, you know, do some shifts, you know?
To work one day. And he called in sick. He's like, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Keem.
I'm not feeling good today. I don't think I want to, you know, be your groom still for today. I don't want to get you sick, my lord.
Sleep it off.
Your Grace, I don't want to make you ill. It's just like, yeah. There's definitely some, you know, some motherfuckers out there that had to, you know, fill in the role. I mean, at least as backups, you know what I mean?
Keem's got chronic IBS, man. Yeah, that would be kind of bad.
Ooh.
Guess it kind of depends.
Oh, chronic IBS. Oh, that'd be bad. Have to deal with that while fucking being groom stool. Nope. Hell no to that. Sounds fucking gnarly.
The game I was playing, Lost Ark. I started getting the itch to play it again last night. I gotta just quit after I figured out that like I just don't have what it takes. But now, I'm coming back in. I'm gonna do it. Cue the Eye of the Tiger music, and it turned out the same way, dude. I was just dying over it. I was like, fuck it. Nope. Uninstalled. Uninstalled. I'm out of here. I don't got the skills to pay those bills, man.
Seeing what random bullshit's happening. The other end of the tube. Huh. I love it. Oops, the US did it again. How America funded Ukraine's neo-Nazis. Oh, you know, just sending a bunch of lethal aid, you know what I mean? Just gotta send Ukraine a bunch of lethal aid to help them out, yo. Oh, that got in the hands of a bunch of neo-Nazi military groups and terror organizations. Uh-oh.
The old magic is gone from me, man.
Oops, our bad. America totally doesn't have a history of doing shit like that.
I didn't get like all the
Accidentally getting the weapons in the hands of different groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS and shit, or just funding them directly. It's like, oops.
I gotta do, every monster. That's enough for me.
But you know, you gotta have freedom, right?
I'm interested.
It's all in the expanse of freedom there, I tell you what. I'm just curious what some of these comments are saying about this bullshit. It's another America oopsie. Wow, this actually so fresh, there's not even many comments on it. Wow. Well, there's actually one funny comment. Okay, now this is literal propaganda. Hassan's playing. Hassan fan. This must mean that all Ukrainians are Nazis. Mean that Russia should invade to kill them all. What the fuck? I have divine hatred towards the sun now. There is only one thing I hate more than anything. It's the hypocrisy. It's like, oh my fucking god. Like when you're unhinged to the point where you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna fucking have divine hatred. Whatever the fuck that means. Like, okay, buddy. It's like, whoa. Okay, bud. Pipe down. It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's like, yeah, just because there's like neo-Nazi groups in fucking Ukraine doesn't mean Russia has carte blanche to be like, you know, go in to exterminate Ukrainian Nazis now, duh. It's like, no. No, that's not what that means. It doesn't mean Russia has, like, justification or the A-OK to do whatever the fuck it's doing. Which is mostly just a fucking bunch of posturing and shit, and now, like, there's a fucking, you know, false flags or whatever the fuck happening now. It's like, oh, great. Yay! That's just tremendous. That's always nice. It's just like, hey, you know, let's have a few false flags to just kind of exacerbate and escalate this further. You know what I'm saying, Jack? My goodness fucking gracious. Oh. You're just so cute. You just look like a sleepy boy. Aw. Watch belly rubs. Yeah. Oh, you're so sweet. You're just a sweet little flying guess who is. Why are you just damned to be so damn cute? It's ridiculous and unacceptable. Look at you, you sweetness. You ball of absurdity. Goof. What a little goof. Oh. Oh. Just the cutest damn little thing. It's like, you need to just stop being cute. What if we just shaved you entirely? Shave all that fur off. Just go. Bzz. Bzz. Nah, I'm kidding. I could never do that. There's just no way I could do that to him. Just too cute. Just too damn adorable. So let's see. We'll suggest Americans hate basically everyone in government. Well, no shit. I mean, that seems like kind of an obvious. Yeah, I don't want.
Morning Consult released the poll, and the results here are incredibly cathartic because it basically confirms what we all have felt. That most Americans
Vindication?
hate our government, we hate politicians in both parties, and we also hate both parties. Because the net favorability that we're seeing here, based on this poll, I mean, I don't know why we're not seeing mass resignations given how widespread the dissatisfaction is among the American people. So let's take a look here. So when it comes to Vice President Harris, she sits at a net negative 9% favorability rating. Biden is at net negative 10%. Mike Pence, net negative 13%. Kevin McCarthy, net negative 14%. Donald Trump, net negative 15%. Chuck Schumer, also net negative 15%. And then we go to Nancy Pelosi, and we see a jump. She sits at net negative 26%. Less popular than Donald Trump.
Damn.
The President of the United States. Wow. And then
That's just awesome.
And I'm assuming that even his own parents hate him because he's sitting at a net negative 34%. Now when it comes to congressional GOP,
my God, because I swear that turtle's like a mafioso fucking
14%.
demented adult fuck.
Now I think that Good Politic guy had the best response to this. He tweeted out, just toss the whole government into the sun. Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the point? What are they even
Just
there
line them up one by one into like one of Elon Musk's crazy ass little space rockets or some shit, and fucking just like, you know, one-way trip to the sun. Right to that sun, baby.
Basic governance, the bare minimum. They can't pull it off. They are fundamentally broken. I mean,
Fail
there's
state.
been unaddressed crises for decades, and there's
Failed
still no
state.
urgency to address the needs of the American people.
Failed state.
Compared with other developed countries, we were left hanging during a global pandemic. That is still very much going
It's like,
on.
go figure.
I mean, unemployment benefits were cut off early, the moratorium on evictions went away far too soon. So we just are continuously left out. What we want doesn't get codified into law. What elites want gets codified into law. It seems like Congress is just there as corporate HQ, and politicians don't necessarily serve their constituents so much as they serve their own interests. They're there seemingly to get insight into, you know, what they should do with regard to the stock market. They're there to set themselves up for a future job as a lobbyist. They're just not there for us, and people see it.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious at this point. I mean, they're just fundamentally not there for the average person. They're there to exploit the average person and are only, you know, looking out for their own fucking pockets and coffers and their own career ladders when it comes to the people that fund and lobby them and prop them right up. Yeah. They're one of those goddamn speckles. Boo. Why must they exist? I love the title of Vox's stream. War seemingly imminent, all caps. Ceasefire, false flag, ceasefire breaches in Ukraine, all caps. Everything all caps. Like, holy crap. Jesus motherfucking Christ. I mean, I know it's his last video about this whole fucking shit where, like, a lot of the comments are just pretty much saying it's like, yeah, he's just kind of saying a lot of fucking, state propaganda type of shit. Where, like, somewhere in that video, he just shows off, like, a random, like, nuke artillery video. It's like, what the fuck? See what random comments are on it. Vox will literally call out people for being reactionary, then turn around and give such bland reactionary takes on this conflict. Russia has troops fighting silence for Russians to separatists. What? I mean, probably. Just as much as there's probably, like, you know, NATO special forces groups and shit working with Ukrainian forces. It's like, my god. A lot of those comments are just about nukes. So, I mean, because the other guy's just, like, pushing random videos about nukes, and it's like, yeah, war, guys. And by the way, nukes exist. It's just like, yeah, so you want a war where there's, like, fucking nukes being launched and shit? Like, are you just basically being, like, a little State Department voice, you know, like a little voice puppet? Just being gun-ho for war at this rate? It's like, fuck off. Oh, so I can also pretty much, like, guarantee, like, whatever, like, bullshit, you know, like, sort of ceasefire breaches are happening, or just straight up fucking false flags. Like, they just straight up are. Considering that there's also been, like, you know, various different, you know, die-downs of, troop movements and shit, you know, around Russia's side of things, and, you know, like a lot of various different people, general public, you know, understand all, you know, this type of bullshit as just being primarily just posturing as Russia always does. Just mainly to kind of suck more financial material out of NATO/US, because they know they can benefit from that. with Crystal and Kyle debate woke school board recall in San Francisco. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh boy. I don't even want to know. I don't even know what that's all about. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, I'm sleepy boy. You sleepy, sleepy little thing. Hey, he is knocked out. Hey, what time is it? It's after. I got almost called in today, so I have to go in around like 3:30ish, 4ish about. And all that fun shit. But unless I'll get one more bowl loaded up for the fine day. Come back after the end of a good little hearty shift. All that fun stuff. Thanks to the coffee, you are just sleepier than hell. Sleepier than hell. You enjoyed running around outside today? For a good chunk of the day? Had to at least get a little something out of you. At least make sure that you're all nice and energized, played with for a couple hours. I at least have to do that with you. At least for a good hour or two. You sweet baby. Because then it gets all nice and sleepy. And what's up, I was watching first time video developed in Ukraine. I was shocked to actually incorporate as Opitalian International Guard Forces. You didn't know that? Like, that's one of the things I've mentioned about. I guess we'll wrap it up now. Fuck it. I don't have to go anywhere quite yet. Hold on, I'm just gonna do this real quick. Do this real quick. I knew Azov existed, but I didn't know they were freaking incorporated them. Well, yeah. Yeah, they incorporate, yeah, Ukrainian military incorporated them into the National Guard forces and shit, and there just straight up is a lot of neo-Nazi paramilitary groups that are embedded and work with the Ukrainian military and shit, and with NATO as well, because they have the mutual benefit of being like, hey, fuck Russia, yo. And now there's been like different false flags now at this rate. Which because honestly, whatever fucking like attacks did, go on, or whatever ceasefire breaches did happen and shit, that like skyrocket, I could guarantee are just false flag reports and shit. Because honestly, if you look at the different cases of like ceasefire breaches that happen kind of throughout, like since like 2014 and shit, there's always like some form or another of like ceasefire breaches happening like constantly, and then out of nowhere it's just like the last like day or two is like. It's like, just conveniently, just out of nowhere, just like it exacerbates endlessly, into this mass, huge, like, big bump. So I understand there was like pictures of like a school, like in kindergarten class or something that got hit, but seeing the pictures of it, it honestly looks more like it got hit with a gigantic cement ball. Like, like one of those big, like, construction balls that, destruction balls or whatever, like, kabonk, and just, like, got a nice, good, like, big hole, like, right in the middle of it, and just, it looked more like a batter ram or something hit it, more or less than a fucking, like, explosive. So it's just like, huh? I mean, also looking at the actual debris and everything, there wasn't any shrapnel or anything like that either. It's like there's usually shrapnel, especially with big explosives. What, did they just like pick it all up and put it aside and just left everything else? I mean, even if they did do that, they would show it, right? So it seems a little sus right there, you know? It's like, hey, you sleepy. You sleepy boy. Boy. Wait, please. Are you weed? What's the opposite of progress? Congress. Yeah, considering they have also like the lowest approval rating as well. We were just looking at that too earlier, and I was like, It's like, no shit. Of course, like, some of the most negative favorable ratings go to McConnell and Pelosi, of course. And Schumer and Trump are about equal, like, negative 15% or something like that. It's like, oof. And also, when you're more hated than fucking Trump, it's like, just go away. Just go be ejected into the sun. For we hardly knew ye. Well, it's more or less that we wish we hardly knew ye. Your tail's like poking out in your little perfect little ball. I don't like it. Dork. What's this? Oh, right. I'm starting to like community posts for the memes. I don't subscribe to like these channels, but there's like some channels that I keep getting their community posts of that have some memes, and they're actually pretty quality. Y'all need to quit fighting over why Eminem was kneeling at the halftime show. You know his knees are weak and his arms are heavy. Because of mom's spaghetti. Oh, okay, that's a good meme. Well, I'm sorry you disagree. It's not my fucking fault. You just weren't alive to understand. I mean, to be fair, I was like a fucking baby, but whatever. At least I was alive. I was alive, damn it. But damn, that actually was kind of a good meme. But Ukrainians regretting giving up those nukes they inherited. Yeah. I mean, honestly, at this rate, I feel like it is legit just probably inevitable that there's going to be a war breaking out, especially now they're just, like, straight up fucking false flag attacks and shit. So, it's like, oh, great. You know, it's like, alright. That's just peachy keen. Ooh. I mean, I guess at this rate, it's more or less, is it going to be like a literal full-on, like, World War III scenario, or is it going to be like a type of, localized regional type of conflict? Like, is it going to be just a Ukraino-Russian war, or is it going to be, like, just World War III? You know what I mean? And, like, what, that's kind of more or less, what, I'm kind of looking at about it. It's like, how far is this really going to go? Because if it kind of goes into World War III scenario, then that means, like, does that mean I have to kind of, start going, like, thinking about maybe, like, fighting random motherfuckers here or something? Like, I mean, because, considering China and Russia being, like, just a hop, skip, and a jump of an ocean, it's like, that doesn't really sit well with me, considering I'm, kind of near that. Well, I guess it's more or less geographically speaking there, but whatever. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to have to think about that, thank you. It's like, yeah, I mean, it really, like, I really feel like it's more of a likelihood for somewhere like Alaska, especially, but, I mean, it's like, let's say, hypothetically, that ends up being the case, that there was, like, some occupation there, who's to say that they're going to try to do so on other sides of the West Coast to try to drain the logistical forces and material out from Alaska and down towards the West Coast, especially in the more high-target areas, alright? So, I mean, it's like maybe resource-wise, Alaska is a lot more of a valuable target, so to speak, but when it comes to just sheer, like, military docks, commerce, all sorts of other shit, just in general, like, the West Coast is a far more valuable target just from that. So, I mean, it's like, honestly, I don't feel like Portland necessarily would be the first target. I feel like LA, San Fran would probably be the case, but still, it's like, do I really want to have that as a thought? I guess I already am, but still. Like, actually considering it instead of it being fucking hypothetical. I suppose you, Venom, don't really have much to worry about. You're fucking out in Alabama. Like, the worst you might have to deal with is just, like, military, like, air, like, exercises and shit before they get shipped off. Like, I got a little bit more to worry about if things got even worse. Honestly, probably a lot more to worry about. I guess that's why, maybe having nukes is, just as, like, weapons and shit probably is not a good idea for superpowers or just anybody in general to be having. Because it's not necessarily just, like, an occupational idea, too. I mean, there's also, like, strategic nuclear attack as well. That could potentially be the case, depending on how far it fucking escalates. I mean, it's just like, the Cold War never really died. It just kind of it got raked back up in the last decade or two. Like, the 90s was, like, a chill period, where it was legitimately cold as fuck, and then, and then it's just been slowly heating up since. And even during the, like, 90s, like, during the late 90s, this shit was slowly escalating. I mean, if anything, that's kind of how we got to this place in the first place. It's like, go figure. And also, Bush being very gung-ho and very adamant about the idea of, being supportive of Ukraine, even when the European leaders at that time were like, hey, that's probably not being, a great idea to be so openly, like, supportive of them. This will probably be antagonistic, towards Russia, and also set a precedent that probably won't be good down the line when we're trying to make things a little bit more chill. So that also kind of played a role in this, too. I mean, it's just like, honestly, U.S. seemed to just, like, fuck things up geopolitically pretty often. At least especially after the recent years. recent decades. It's like, weird. Because, you know, it's like after Bush, fast forward 2014, then there's the whole Crimea thing, and then fast forward to today, and now there's this. So it's like, Man, he is a sleepy boy. Sleepy, sleepy. That's a scrub jay. There's a scrub jay outside. Man, scrub jays make the weirdest little noises, man. They do those like little queek, queek, and then they'll be like, cheep, cheep, cheep. Like they do these, like they have such. They do that, but then they do those little long screeches. They got like some weird noises in them, man. Same with crows. Like hearing them, that shit's like whack. It's like whoa. Listening to them just kind of call, squawk, and cackle and do their shit. That's really cool. I haven't seen cell jays in a minute. Hopefully they'll start kind of coming back and showing their little pretty little faces again. Because those jays are like really, really cool looking. Got like kind of like a black head, but it kind of fades slowly into like this really vivid blue. Like an ocean blue almost. It's like, whoa. They really stand out a little bit. I haven't really seen too many of the squirrels lately, but honestly, I know what happened to at least one of them, and I know it's fucking Bandit. Saw this poor female squirrel just not consumed or nothing, just dead. And I could tell it's because fucking Bandit was dragging her around, cause she was like, just looking like in this position, like, oh, you were dragged around, weren't you? I wonder who got you. That definitely wasn't Bandit. Oh, definitely not. No, no, no. It's like, man, motherfuck, dude. I'm fine with Bandit going after rats and mice and pretty much anything else. But not the squirrels. Well, I mean, even birds. I'm not really, like, don't go after birds. Bandit, avoid birds and the squirrels, and we'll be chill. I'm not exactly happy with you when you fucking eat, or at least just kill the squirrels and don't even do anything with them. It's just like, man, piece of shit. Bandit's a piece of shit. Honestly, he can be more so than fucking Zukov. And Zukov can be a little piece of shit himself, but nowhere near like Bandit can be. Because Bandit's a lot more fucking sociopathic of his shit. I would give him a little treat, but he's a little sleepy. He's a sleepy boy. because it's too much else, and it's about 3:20. Hour away from 4:20. Somewhere out there in the world it's 4:20. But at least all good for now. Head off to work, get a little extra hours and all that fun shit. And all that fun, good stuff. Fun. Oh, and it's also a Friday too. Fuck me, oh god. But hey, at least the extra people do help. It makes it a little bit easier. So, me being there by proxy actually does make it a little easier. So, whatever. But anyway, peace out. Call good. See everyone later.